So, I hear Crunchyroll just purchased Right Stuff Anime, and they're already getting rid of the more mature content. Huh. Well, I guess if you live in a country with standards, you won't be able to watch shows like Interspecies reviewers anymore. Unless... This video has been sponsored by NordVPN, an amazing virtual private network service that can unlock all sorts of content with just a simple click. All you really have to do is open up NordVPN, click on whatever country you'd like, and voila! Now you can watch any anime you want without region locking stopping you. With over 5,500 servers in 60 countries, you're safe to explore all sorts of streaming services from all around the world. And thanks to NordLynx, you won't have to worry about lagging or bandwidth issues at all. You can also use NordVPN on multiple platforms such as Windows, Androids, iOS devices, and more. Yep, still using NordVPN today and still haven't had any issues at all. As of right now, NordVPN has started their cybersecurity awareness campaign by going above and beyond to bring you better awareness and protection. Whether you choose their standard, plus, or complete package, if you use my link nordvpn.com/animeamerica and get yourself a 2-year plan, you will also be given an additional 4 months for free. That's 4 extra months added to your 2-year plan, and it's risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. If you want to unlock more content from around the world and have better protection when searching online, just go to nordvpn.com/animeamerica or click on the link in the description box to use NordVPN today. I mean...
Bingo! Bingo! Bingo!
Okay, he's been drinking more than Gohan.
My time, bingo! Ha!
Seriously, no one should ever take Dragon Ball seriously ever since Super was created, but I digress.
My little pony, my little pony.
So, a little background about me before we dive into this. I love Japan. Comes with the territory because I'm an anime nerd. Even as a kid, my parents, they worked for Disney World. That meant me and my sister can go to Disney World whenever we wanted to. It's always a special treat though, like as long as we kept our grades good and we didn't cause any trouble at school, we can go to Disney World whenever we could. Of course, being the anime nerd that I am, I loved going to Epcot, mainly because I could go, before I had a PS2, I can go to Epcot's Innoventions and play Kingdom Hearts, but then I could also go to the World Showcase Center to visit the Japan Pavilion. It's basically, they had like a restaurant called Mitsukoshi's and a store underneath it, basically with the same name. And they had the Goju Noto temple right across from it, where the taiko drums performers would play there. Always a lot of fun. And they had like a castle at the back. They kept changing the exhibit that they display back there. The last time I was there, they had like how demons were connected to anime icons, or pretty much like how they're represented in modern media today. From yokai to anime. That kind of stuff. I loved going through the store, just looking at all of the merchandise that came from Japan, the fans, the kimonos, like this kimono I'm wearing right now. It was actually a gift to me. I think I was like 14 when I got it. Thanks, Mom. And she got a discount for it and been loving it ever since. But yeah, you can figure, I've always wanted to go to Japan. It has been my dream to visit Japan. I was even jealous of my dad because when he was in college, he got to go with his marching band. And I haven't been able to go because, financial reasons. It was pretty pricey to fly from America to Japan. Did not help that I spent the majority of my paychecks when I was young on anime merchandise that I would, just save up all my money for MegaCon and Metrocon and Holiday Matsuri. Just spend all of my hard-earned money on merchandise. We've all been there. I'm trying to think if there's like any stuff that I bought that I kept. I think some anime DVDs. These figurines, I think I got them from Metrocon years ago, the Soul Eater collection that I got. Hello there. And even here in Australia, there's plenty of flights that I could take that are pretty cheap. Flying from Australia to Japan, much cheaper. It's just, before COVID, it was all for, financial reasons. We were struggling for a bit. Just prioritizing our finances with groceries, rent, bill, adulting stuff. Now that the borders have died down, my mom just really wanted me to head over to America. We're gonna go on a family cruise, spend some time together. I haven't seen my mom or my dad in like 6 years, let alone my sister. I have not seen my sister in 10 years. I think nearly 10 years. And I've never met my nephews. Like, my oldest one is like 7 years old, and he must know the legend of Auntie Robin. I think she's gonna regret this now. Brendan and I were looking at flights, and they had like interesting layovers. There was one that was gonna keep us in Canada for a couple of days, and it's like, do I really want to spend like 14 hours in Montreal and another 16 hours in Vancouver? And these are the flights that would land you in the middle of the evening, so there's no point in going outside. The Canadian police are after me now. But you catch my drift. Layovers, just trying to pick the right one. It was difficult. Lesson learned? Never book return flights. One-way tickets are the way to go. They're super cheaper. And also never book your flights through Flight Center. We didn't, but when we're doing all the price comparisons with the flights that we found versus what this lady found, we're just like, no. No, you're literally trying to make us pay twice the amount. No, freaking Flight Center. But anyways, there was one trip that took me by surprise because it was a layover in Tokyo for 12 hours. I'm just like, am I gonna go to Japan? Is my dream coming true? Am I actually going to Japan? And my husband was like, you know, if you can find a cheap flight from Sydney to Tokyo and then Tokyo to Orlando, by all means, just keep it within the budget. And I did. I found super cheap flights, and they have super cheap hotels. I swear, like, the trip to LA that we eventually took, Tokyo was cheaper. It would have been. We were so close to booking it. We were so freaking close. But little old me is all like, let's just check the visa requirements first. And that's where all my dreams were shattered. So June 10th, after over 2 years, Japan opened their borders on June 10th, 2022. There's a catch though. You can freely fly to Japan if you're on a business trip, if you're studying in Japan, if you have family that lives in Japan, though I hear it's still hard to go see your relatives. But as a tourist, there's a catch. You can go to Japan if you want, but you need to book through their tour group packages. I honestly believe that, like, with the layover, I could just leave the airport, explore, and then come back. Or, you know, with just a couple of days I'd be there, I could just, you know, book a few cheap hotels and just go to Tokyo Disney, Akihabara, just explore the city and live out my dreams. But no, that's not allowed yet. In order for you to be a tourist in Japan, you have to book a tour group package. This is basically an adult version of a school field trip. You land in Japan, show them your visa and passport and your COVID negative test results, go meet up with your tour group, meet your chaperone, and get on the bus. And from there, you have to follow your group, stay with your group, and do what your chaperone tells you to do at every destination that you go to. So for one thing, this is more expensive than we wanted. I mean, the thing that I found was like a third cheaper, because it's just me doing this by myself and just hanging around the city with a couple of friends that we know that are living there. But no, it's not allowed. You have to be watched by a chaperone and go to select destinations with a group and stay together. It is essentially, if you want to be a tourist, fine, but just stay out of our way. Just go to these touristy spots, don't leave, don't misbehave. That's no fun. And I'm reading the comments from all these other YouTube videos, like Gaijin Goomba, Let's Ask Shogo. There was one that lives in Japan that went over the guidelines after June 10th was announced. And just reading the comments from like thousands of people that are saying they're not going, I think it did heavily impact the tourism industry, because I think only a fraction of people decide, okay, fine, we just really want to go to Japan. After June 10th happened, it was just 8,000 people that had visited Japan. So tourism is still at a low because nobody wants to be part of these packages. And as I'm reading the comments, some are actually calling Japan xenophobic. But are they? Xenophobia, dislike of or prejudice against people from other countries. So basically, it's just the question of, do they not trust outside tourists? Now, I'm not blaming the Paul brothers, but... Sorry, I couldn't resist. I think that's like the only reason why PewDiePie actually made it in Japan, because he had real estate. He had a house in there. So after the borders dropped, he's just like, hi, that's my address, let me in. That's the only reason why he was allowed in. Because he actually lives there. He has a house there. But to allow your people to leave the country, do whatever, because all these other countries, like the United States, Canada, Europe, they're allowing travelers to come and go as long as, they take PCR and rat tests and show the negative results and have the correct visa applications. Even as I'm recording this right now, my mother-in-law is just traveling all throughout Europe with her sisters, just having the time of her life. Every country they have to enter in, though, she has to take a rat test. She actually got COVID before, like a couple of weeks before the trip, and I'm like, well, you're getting over and done with now, Mom. For me and my husband to travel to America, we just have to, I think, get a booster shot before we travel, take a rat test to show the travel agents, like, yeah, we are negative, and we're allowed in. I can go in because I'm an American citizen, my husband will just need a travel visa. That's it. So why is it that Japan is more trusting to allow their people to travel to and from, but they're pretty hesitant towards tourists outside? They just don't want foreigners yet. And if they do want foreigners, they have to be in a closed-off group and behave themselves. Some would argue that it is xenophobia, but you also have to remember the lifestyle that the Japanese people grew up with. They have a code that they lived with ever since the shogunate, when villages were divided and they had to look out for each other, because it was pretty scary times back then. Stay together, do your best for the community, and if you do anything that threatens this lifestyle, you're an outsider, get out. Don't threaten our system, because this is how we are surviving. Which was fine and dandy for back then, but to incorporate that into modern day today, to still have this lifestyle of, do everything as we tell you, do what's best for society. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Do as you're told, do as you're expected to do, and if you try to stray away from this path, you're an outsider. Get out. Canadian police, I swear. So yeah, some would argue that it is xenophobia because they're not as trustworthy to tourists outside of the country compared to all the other countries that have opened their borders and saying, look, just bring back a negative test. Japan is still like, okay, fine, you can come, but stay over there. Don't leave your chaperone. But at the same time, as Let's Ask Shogo put it, the Japanese people are still scared.
A lot of people ask me, like, is it because Japanese people hate foreigners? Most people are afraid, are scared.
Because of this lifestyle that they have of looking out for each other, they have some of the strictest guidelines for COVID, which has impacted a whole bunch of industries, but they get it. They're working together to look after themselves. COVID is still a thing, but you gotta wear masks everywhere, you gotta take tests constantly, you gotta clean everything. They're probably like the cleanest country in the world. Like, they're trying to eliminate it, but you can't eliminate this. COVID, at this point, even when I had it, it felt like a glorified flu. I'm fine. I'm fine. I pretty much walked away feeling fine. So ultimately, this is something that we're just gonna have to live with, as sad as it is. It's not going away. Like most other flus, viruses, and pandemics in the past, COVID is not going away. But I think when the government and the people of Japan look at how all the other countries reacted to the virus, when it came to people not wanting to wear their masks, people being afraid of the vaccines, they do have every right to be a little hesitant when it comes to tourists, because take that mentality and put it in Japan. So ultimately, to answer the people's question from those comments I read, and from the people I've told this to about, is Japan xenophobic? To some extent, just looking at how they live their lifestyles and how they see, the pandemic, I'm gonna say no. I think they're just scared and still living this outdated system of, needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, which is still very strict to their own people. And even when the people are trying to, get some little elbow room for a little, expression and less rules at school and whatnot, and the government and the older generation are fighting back. It's just, when it comes to, travelers and this whole pandemic thing, I still think, as a whole, they want people to come back, but they're hesitant because this was like the scariest thing they've ever witnessed. This is just a scary time of our lives, and just seeing how everyone else around the world reacted to everything, they're just hesitant. To some extent, I can't blame them. Just a little heartbroken because I was this close. I was so close to going. I would have met up with my friend Stephanie, and we would have traveled all throughout Tokyo. I would have gone to Disneyland. Maybe find a way to fly to Osaka to go to Universal Studios. That would have been cool. Go on the Sailor Moon ride and everything. Japan, open up, please. I want to go. I want to go ride the Sailor Moon ride. I want to go to Akihabara. Let's go. Let me in. Let me in. So I want to ask you guys in the comment section down below, do you think Japan's being just a little too strict with their rules? Is this a sign of xenophobia? Do you think they're just being cautious when it comes to letting people in? Even though, America and Europe and a whole bunch of other countries, they open up their borders pretty quickly to allow tourism in just to try to get more revenue back into the economy. Do you think Japan's just being a little too strict? Let me know in the comment section down below. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and I'll let you guys know what the next video will be. I'm thinking about possibly doing a little editorial about the evolution of isekais. Because a friend of mine showed me there was an isekai where a guy gets reborn as a vending machine in another world. Sign me up. If you like what I do on this channel with my top 10s, my reviews, and editorials, and even vlogs like this, any other shenanigans I get into, if you like what you see here, be sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to Anime America. It helps us a lot, especially when YouTube Senpai has been not so kind to us lately. What can you do? But just liking the video, commenting, and sharing, and subscribing, it helps the channel out more than you know. And the same applies to all your other favorite YouTubers, so go help them. We all know YouTube isn't helping us, so please do your best to help your fellow YouTubers. And as always, thank you so much for watching. More awesome videos will be on the way, so stay tuned to Anime America. Bye!